Okay, item 770.
770, request of Donald Scott Upham to address council regarding police bureau actions concerning Megan McCoy.
Good morning, Mr. Upham. Welcome. Good morning.
My name is Scott Upham. On February 25th, there's no pending claim. Oh, sure. I represent a lady who reported to the Washington County Sheriff's Office that she had been raped by a man, both in Multnomah and Washington counties. Thereafter, Washington County submitted the report to the Portland Police Bureau in January 2012. Both my client and her rape victim advocate contacted the Portland Police Bureau on several occasions to find out what they were doing about this complaint. But they were stonewalled and never received response. So finally, each gave up. I wrote this letter 2 years later to the Portland Police Bureau on this lady's behalf to find out why she was never contacted and why this case was never investigated. A couple hours after I wrote the email, I got a response back from the chief's office saying that someone should be contacting me soon. We then came down to Portland 3 days later and spent 2 hours with a detective who took a partial statement from her, didn't even come close to completing all the information in her possession. She was asked and she agreed to allow the police to come to her house to download all the information on her phone that she'd accumulated for over 4 years, text messages, emails, and so on and so forth. I asked to receive a copy of that report and they said I couldn't get one. I then asked the detectives why on earth was she not contacted for over 2 years, and neither had an explanation for that. The following day, 5 days later after the interview, I got a letter from George Burke, commander of the detective division, saying, "Thank you for taking the time to follow up with us. This case has been assigned to Detective Tracy Chamberlain for follow-up. He will be in touch with you in the near future." Obviously, he didn't know that we'd already been interviewed. He says, "I believe the intended path for this will be to present it to the DA's office for possible prosecution when the investigation is complete. We will be working closely with your client as we move forward." I then wrote back to the chief's office and said, "I just got the email from Commander Burke, but he did not answer my question as to why no action has been taken on this case for over 2 years. And to this day, I still haven't received an answer as to what happened. The reports that were received by the Portland Police Bureau more than 2 years ago. And as of course the Public Records Act requires the Police Bureau to maintain and preserve those documents.
You've used your time, and we don't want to go into the whole case now, but I appreciate you highlighting this and bringing it to our attention. I understand the district attorney is about to schedule this case for grand jury.
Well, that's news to us.
Well, that's what I've just been told this morning, so it's news to me too. And then Commander Burke is here in the room, and I actually suggest that you and he confer about preparing for the grand jury, because it sounds like, for whatever reason, at long last, the case is going to a grand jury. So you're obviously doing your job as an advocate for your client. We appreciate that, and it's a serious crime whenever it occurs or is alleged. So it needs to get to a grand jury, and I'm glad to see that that's happening.
Well, I really wanted to impart that, boys that go into men are trained and told never to hit a woman, ever. But sexually assaulting women seems to be kind of okay in this society.
Well, it's not tolerated here.
And the course of this so-called investigation, which is now more than 2.5 years old, kind of indicates that attitude prevails in the DA's offices in this metropolitan area and in the police departments. Not one witness was interviewed in this case until July, and that was only after the Oregonian wrote an article
Well,
And now today I hear, because I've come to you folks,
Right.
someone's gonna do something about it. This shouldn't be required. I mean, I don't like to come down here and be a jerk and tell you people what a terrible job has been done in this particular case, but I've made multiple attempts to communicate with you, Mayor Hales, and the police chief, and no one has ever responded to me.
Well, we'll find out why that happened, because that shouldn't happen. And again, Commander Burke is here. I want to ask you to meet with him, and then I'll follow up with him and get a report to my office about what's happened with this case and why. So I appreciate you highlighting it, and I don't think you're being a jerk by bringing your client's legitimate interest to the public. So we appreciate you doing that, and appreciate you spending time with him. And obviously, I will also spend some time with the district attorney on the subject of sexual assault cases, because we take them very seriously, and Commander Burke and his detectives to take them seriously when they're investigating one, as well as our Drugs and Vice Division is pretty serious about human trafficking and all the consequences of it. So something that is a priority for the Portland Police Bureau, and I'm sorry if in this case the process has been slow or uncertain, because that's not what our intent in this council.
Well, the proof's in the pudding.
It is.
And this is the status as it right now. So,
Thank you very much. Okay, anyone arrived that was called earlier?